It's Friday. Enjoy the fact the weekend's coming up. I get a vacation week next week before the sprint, the endless sprint to the election. So I'm going to enjoy broadcasting today. Just got a note from my friend Alex Colladin over in Scottsdale, Fountain Hills District in Arizona. Voting is underway, Arizona. Don't forget. And don't forget to vote for Alex Colladin in the state Senate race there in Scottsdale, Fountain Hills. But voting is underway. It goes through August 4th. That's my public service announcement and a plug for Alex Colladin. I'm going to do this backwards. I'm starting with the business story of the day, brought to you by Birch Gold. Text my name, Hugh, to 474747, because I want to play for you uninterrupted a lot of Attorney General Barr's speech, which was an important speech at the Gerald Ford Library yesterday. So I'm going to go backwards than I normally do. Business story first, brought to you by Birch Gold. Remember, diversify your wealth. You got to do it because the market yesterday, again, it's just always bumpy. Down 135 on the Dow yesterday, down 76 on the NASDAQ, down 10. And then you look abroad today and everything almost everywhere is green. So everything is up today. You never know what's going to happen. I know the 10-year Treasury is down to 0.61%. Gold at 1803.90 cents today. Great entry point if you, because it got up a little bit higher than 1820, I believe, earlier in the week. So an entry point to diversify by rolling over a portion of your IRA or 401k by going to Birch Gold via HughGold.com or texting my name, Hugh, to 474747. The big business story. Netflix added 10 million subscribers in the second quarter, well above what people predicted, but the shares are falling. Why? Because they said, look, we're only going to add 2.5 million new subscribers in the next quarter. They've added so many people in lockdown and buying as much video as possible. That will not be a problem for Amazon because they've got other areas of growth. But Netflix, it's just subscription. Wow, 10 million new subscribers in a quarter. Hats off to Netflix, even though they'll trade a little bit lower. It just means it's a great stock for years to come. But you need some silver and gold. Remember, text my name, Hugh, to 474747. White House is considering putting TikTok on a blacklist, preventing Americans from using the popular video app because China is using it to spy. And speaking of China, our two big speeches. Well, let me give you the terrible news on COVID. I like to update you every morning. We've had 138,000 deaths in the United States and 3.5 million cases. 924 people died yesterday. Our death rate remains, substantially lower than it was at the height of the pandemic's outbreak in early May and late April. And with surging caseloads, far more cases. So we've learned a lot about the disease, but it's still a lot of cases everywhere in the United States. That's why I was reading about Moderna. Full disclosure, I own some shares in Moderna. I finally bought a second stock besides Amazon because I'm so bullish. I talked to a toxicologist about this yesterday who thinks we're ahead of where we thought we would be in the vaccination development, but warns it can still take a long time. I think Moderna is ahead of AstraZeneca now because they're already manufacturing millions of doses. They're pretty confident about this thing. Nevertheless, it will take time to manufacture and deploy, so the United States is going to struggle, but it's going to come roaring back. So a couple of speeches yesterday. First of all, Mike Pompeo gave a speech at the Department of State, slamming the New York Times 1619 project and talking about America's founding. Just one cut from that, please. Cut number 12.
The New York Times 1619 Project, so named for the year that the first slaves were transported to America, wants you to believe that our country was founded for human bondage. They want you to believe that America's institutions continue to reflect the country's acceptance of slavery at our founding. They want you to believe that Marxist ideology, that America is only the oppressors and the oppressed. The Chinese Communist Party must be gleeful when they see the New York Times spout this ideology. Some people have taken these false doctrines to heart. The rioters pulling down statues thus see nothing wrong with desecrating monuments to those who fought for our unalienable rights, from our founding to the present day. This is a dark vision of America's birth. I reject it. It's a disturbed reading of our history. It is a slander on our great people.
Mike Pompeo taking aim at the cultural revisionists in the United States, the people who do not glory in American liberty. I'll be greeting Secretary Pompeo at the Nixon Library next Thursday. We're celebrating the 30th anniversary of the library and the 50th anniversary of the opening to China launch by secret diplomacy led by Henry Kissinger at the direction of Richard Nixon. I don't know what Secretary Pompeo is going to say, but we had National Security Advisor O'Brien give a hard-hitting speech on China in Arizona. Then we had FBI Director Christopher Wray give one. And yesterday, Bill Barr opened up on the Chinese Communist Party. Here is the Attorney General at the Gerald R. Ford Museum yesterday, cut number one.
CCP's campaign to compel ideological conformity does not stop at China's borders. Rather, the CCP seeks to extend its influence around the world, including on American soil. All too often, for the sake of short-term profits, American companies have succumbed to that influence, even at the expense of freedom and openness in the United States. Sadly, examples of American business bowing to China are legion. Take Hollywood. Hollywood's actors, producers, and directors pride themselves on celebrating freedom and the human spirit. And every year at the Academy Awards, Americans are lectured about how this country falls short of Hollywood's ideals of social justice. But Hollywood now regularly censors its own movies to appease the Chinese Communist Party, the world's most powerful violator of human rights. This censorship infects not only the versions of movies that are released in China, but also many that are shown in the United States theaters to American audiences.
Now, the Attorney General knows that China has been watching the series of speeches that began with O'Brien's and Wray's, including his yesterday at Gerald R. Ford Museum and Secretary of State Pompeo's speech next week. They know policy is being laid out in a sophisticated four-part delivery. And here's what he says about the fact that he knows the CCP is watching. Cut number 3 of the Attorney General at the Ford Museum yesterday.
Several weeks ago, the National Security Advisor, Robert O'Brien, spoke about the CCP's ideology and global ambitions. He declared, and I agree, that the days of American passivity and naivete regarding the People's Republic of China are over. And last week, the FBI Director, Chris Wray, described how the CCP pursues its ambitions through the nefarious and even illegal conduct, including industrial espionage, theft, extortion, cyber attacks, and malign influence activities. In the coming days, you will hear from Secretary Mike Pompeo, who will sum up what is at stake for the United States and the free world. Now, Chris Wray told me that shortly after his speech last week, one of the leaders of the Chinese Communist Party pronounced that his speech was particularly disgusting. I told him that I was going to aim today to be despicable. But I'll settle for especially disgusting. But no matter how the Chinese seek to characterize it, I do hope that my speech and Mike Pompeo's speech will encourage the American people to reevaluate their relationship with China so long as it continues to be ruled by the Chinese Communist Party.
That's why I'm looking forward to greeting Secretary of State Pompeo in Yorba Linda next Thursday. One more cut from Bill Barr. He is not a pessimist, however. Cut number 2.
I'm privileged to speak here today about what may prove to be the most important issue for our nation and the world in the 21st century, and that is the United States' response in the global ambitions to the global ambitions of the Chinese Communist Party. The CCP rules with an iron fist over one of the great ancient civilizations of the world. It seeks to leverage the immense power, productivity, and ingenuity of the Chinese people to overthrow the rule-based international system and to make the world safe for dictatorship. How the United States responds to this challenge will have historic implications and will determine whether the United States and its liberal democratic allies will continue to shape their own destiny, or whether the CCP and its autocratic tributaries will control the future. You know, since the 1890s, at least, the United States has been the technological leader of the world. And from that prowess has come our prosperity, the opportunity for generations of Americans, and our security.
And it will continue to come. More of Attorney General Barr after the break. Stay tuned.